Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis the Cycling Greek. Just like the title infers, with 4 days to go to my goal race, I just fell apart today. I'd like you to listen to the various variables I present and then give me your analysis on why I did. While I have ideas on the possibilities, nothing is definitive to me. That's why I need you guys to take a look and comment below on your thoughts. Let's start off by first going back to Saturday, where I had another one of my workout rides that showed that I was peaking at the right time. What I needed to do after this ride for the next 8 days as I scheduled my workouts leading to my goal race was keep in mind the formula form equals fitness times freshness and not overcook myself. Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday were Zwift endurance rides that did not last over an hour, and Tuesday was off, and that led to this ride. Actually, I could tell something was off on Wednesday. On the endurance ride on Zwift, on the 5th or 6th laps, the ride leader decided to open things up. Where in that ride I had been doing 2.5 watts per kilogram, on that 5th lap, I was doing a minimum of 3.5 watts. Each lap was 3 miles, and I only lasted one with the group. So let's talk about this ride. When I first started off on the ride, and I started from home, so I rode about 20 miles to meet these guys, I can tell something was off. It was a hot day, but theoretically I was adapted to the heat. Actually, that's the first question I have. For about a week, I had not done any type of heat riding. So I would imagine the adaptation starts to reverse at a certain point. When I was talking to former YouTuber Chaz Thurman on the subject of heat adaptation, he says if you go out and do an endurance ride of some length 3 times a week, then that'll be enough for you to adapt to the heat. I took off from my house at about 2:30, met these guys at 4 o'clock, and it's about 4:30 right now. I stopped doing this ride with these guys about a month ago because of changes in work schedule. Last month, I was racing these guys to the top. Now, well, you see what's happening to me. Keeping in mind that I want to have fresh legs for Sunday, and I wanted to have fresh legs for today, I didn't want to do too much this week. And when I look at my schedule coming into this ride, I didn't. That all being stated, I would have done today's ride on Tuesday, but Tuesday was about 160 degrees and this ride wasn't available. I still figured after today, I still had 3 days before my goal race. So for me, this didn't seem to be a problem area. The next thing I thought about was, were my workouts leading into the taper the right workouts? I had done this ride once a week, midweek for 2 months leading into the end of June, where my work schedule changed and so I couldn't do these rides anymore. For me, these were better than solo intervals because this was riddled with intervals of various lengths. This, in combination with another main workout I was doing on Saturdays, produced big gains for me that some people were starting to notice. When I got to the end of June, I was concerned about mistiming my build-up for my goal race. The first week leading to the weekend, I backed off quite a bit. And furthermore, on the following 3 weeks, I even muted my key midweek workout. It turned into a ride 2 hours out to the practice race, get dropped on the first lap of the practice race, and ride 2 hours endurance back home. At a criterium I did a couple weeks ago, I got to experience the consequences of my training, where my climbing has improved immensely. My flat land has waned, which is one of the main reasons I came out and started doing this ride again. The district road race, middle of August, is flattish, and the district criterium at the beginning of September is totally flat. I'm hoping the stimulation from doing these rides again will give me enough gain so I can at least be in the mix. Back to the screen. I jumped forward a bit to the next key part of the course. Janine has dropped off and I'm surprised about that. It's at this turn typically when all hell breaks loose. Now, I've been pretty much dying a lot of the ride, having a lot of problems, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. Terry was able to get on my wheel, and Robert has not been able to make the connection. I am hurting doing this pace, but I'm trying to keep this pace up all the way to the top of this initial part of the climb so that Terry does not come around. I wager that if he does come around, he'll come around decisively. Well, he didn't attack, and so that is good, and I was able to get on his wheel. My main concern now is being able to stay with them to get over the top, because once we get over that, what I call the initial top, there's a dip, there's a nice long dip leading to the climb, and well, you can see right there, I just ran out of legs. In my previous rides, I never made it to the top of this section with Terry. I've gotten a lot closer, but I certainly didn't fall apart like I am doing here. Soon after I started the main 4-minute climb of this ride, Terry was out of sight. The others were catching up to me. I could barely hold 200 watts on this climb, and all I was thinking about was the water at the turnaround point. I then started thinking about all those undulations I have to do out and back with these guys that are still riding pretty strong. And then I started thinking about the water at the last store that we passed.
I don't, overheated, I don't have it. I need to get some water. About a third of the way up that climb, that main climb, I had to turn around. I was overheating, getting weak. I hope I didn't mistime my preparation. I could tell coming out here that even though it was under 100 degrees today, I could feel the heat a lot. So I've lost some of my adaptation to the heat, partially because of the rides I've chosen, locations, and also the extra rest I've been doing for tapering. I hope my body wakes up in about 3 days for the race.
The reason I didn't ride home from the store was the main reason why I came out here to begin with. I needed to work on my flatland. I was feeling a bit better. I certainly wasn't dead yet, so I decided to ride back, catch up with them, and see how long I can hang with them at some critical parts, some critical hard parts. I have been doing a good pull leading into the top of this small riser, but my tank is not full, and I'm feeling the effects. I know that once we get on the flats and we start laying the watts down, that it's going to be a struggle for me. And chances are pretty high that I'm going to get dropped. I'm just hoping that I get dropped close to the turn-off point, the point where they turn off to go home and I turn off to go to my home. When we start our work, I'm at the back, and even then I realize that my presence is tenuous with this group. Terry, who's clearly the strongest, pulls off. Janine, who ordinarily is also very strong in her own right, can't pull through. So, being next in line, I go ahead and take the next pull. The more I can last with these guys doing this kind of work, the more of a benefit it will be for me. I can't, at the first sign of trouble, pull off if I still have the legs to hang on. That's what I call the decision point. On this ride, these decision points were coming every time I pulled off. I was hurting, I had to struggle to get on their wheels, but I wasn't completely dead yet. And I knew that if I could get on their wheels, then that would benefit me even that much more. Let's talk about a couple more factors. First one is weight loss. I've gotten my weight down to just below 162 pounds coming into this ride. I'm just a hop and a skip over 6 feet tall. This was actually a culmination of a 10+ pound weight loss that started from around December. So I wasn't panicking about losing the weight quickly, because I'm cognizant that quick weight loss means power loss. The best way I can control my weight is on low and non-workout days, like what this week was. Did I skimp on the food too much? That's maybe a consideration. I'm sure I lost about 3/4 of a pound so far in this half of the week. That change in work schedule that I mentioned, well, basically that's me going back to work rather than working from home, which means that I now have to get up a little before 5:30, then a little before 6:30, and that hour makes a difference. I'm getting to bed a lot earlier, but that does have an effect too. Lastly, there's work stress. It was a very stressful morning at work. Now, I don't mind stress. However, that also has an effect. Back to the screen, my legs are reaching the end of the line. It's about a mile to the turnoff point, and when these guys come through, if I can just hang on to their wheel, and, well, this is not happening this time. I'm glad I went back, and I'm glad I hung on for as long as I could. Now I still have 20 miles to go to get home. For whatever reason, when it gets hot, I'll tend toward the end of the ride to get hot foot in my right foot. And so what I do to alleviate that is single pedal with my left leg so I can take the pressure off the bottom of my right foot. When I first started doing this, after I disconnected from the others, my legs started cramping and I couldn't do this. What you're seeing now is me doing this later on in the ride as I get closer to home.
Oh man, I made it home. I was on top of the world Saturday on my ride there, and then it's Thursday today, and I just suck. And then coming up Sunday, that's my key goal race, my first one. So I got some thinking to do. There's the I don't know. I'm so tired right now. There's the heat factor. Today at work in the morning was super stressful, which I don't mind stress, but that does play on you, and it certainly played on me. And the stress was like people's paycheck kind of stress. And then some other factors. So anyway, I'm going to go home. No, I'm going to go inside. I'm so tired right now. Take a shower, eat, and then eat some more. That may be a factor too. All right, I hope you got something out of this and enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it that much. As always, remember comment, like, subscribe. God, the Cycling Greek.